Hello friends and welcome to my channel. The Money Heist series has created quite a stir in the global web series market, with fans falling in love with each of its characters. While I myself binged and loved the entire series, to be honest, there were a few plot points here and there which did put me off. A series as good as this definitely deserves smarter writing. In this video, I'll be focusing on the loose plot points from season 1 and 2. I'll be also making a separate video for season 3 and 4. So, spoiler alert in case you haven't watched any of the seasons yet. Also, if you haven't subscribed to my channel already, please do that and press the bell icon for more such videos. So, let's get started. In the first few episodes of season 1, the officers come very close to finding out who the professor was when they find out about his red car. Professor visits the junkyard and succeeds in destroying the evidence. However, the junkyard owner proves to be a pain for him when he tries to help the cops with the sketch. But the professor plays his cards well and turns him hostile by giving him warning in Russian language after hijacking the cops' vehicle. The cops clearly failed here on two occasions. Firstly, when they failed to catch the professor in the junkyard, and next, when the junkyard owner turns hostile and lies that he did not know anything despite his sketch almost ready, and Raquel still lets him go. Clearly the cops could have been more persistent there with him, as Raquel already knew that face, which could have made the things a lot more cakewalk for them. At number 2, Denver wants Moscow to breathe some fresh air, so he gets him up on the terrace along with the other hostages. While I don't have a problem with that, it was hard to believe that the barrage of army just outside the Royal Mint didn't attempt to make an aerial attack on them or landing with helicopters on terrace just to rescue the hostages. Also, while Arturo Roman is the dumbest character shown in the series, the entire manner in which he points his fake gun to Moscow and Denver, making the cops believe that he was one of the robbers, is funny, but at the same time it leads them to firing at him. It was quite dramatic and unbelievable. Also, from the entire army, just one bullet hits Arturo and he still manages to not get killed. Miracle. At number 3, in police officers, the logical interpretation sense is far more developed than the common people. Well, in the real world at least. In Raquel's case, it was quite the opposite, with her immediately trusting the professor and sharing all her personal secrets with him in the first proper catch-up itself. Quite a dumb thing to do, especially for a police officer. At number 4, I always thought cops coming late to the crime scene and not using logic existed only in Indian cinema, but Money Heist proved me wrong. Just like Bollywood movies, the robbers here are always a step ahead of the officers. They always seem to be in the right place at the right time and anticipate every move before happening. Cops appointed for such a massive heist are shown to be really fragile and emotional losers. For example, despite being in the eye all the time, Salva is allowed inside cops' main workplace for such a critical mission, and not only that, Raquel also shares all her case updates with him. Coming in at number 5, despite all that security at Angel's hospital, the professor manages to sneak in by taking advantage of the confusion and getting the clowns inside the hospital, which honestly surprised me. The logic given was a fake casting call made for clowns. Firstly, who calls people at hospital for acting auditions? And secondly, at such short notice, the number of people turning up, that too fully dressed as clowns, doesn't quite fit my logical mind. Even if I buy that, the way in which they create the chaos unintentionally, which gets out of control for such a large deployment of cops, is very hard to believe. In the middle of all that, the professor is shown walking easily right in front of the passage, with no one noticing or questioning him. My mouth was really wide open at that scene with what was just happening there. At number 6, an officer who's made in charge of such a large heist is someone who's kept after a lot of background check and someone who's very capable. Well, at least the makers of the series did not think so. Raquel's dumb way of handling the entire heist, and moreover, when she finally discovers Salva's true identity in the cafe, instead of turning him to the cops' control room, which was just minutes away, she takes him to the hideout, which is at the extreme end of the city, and does his lie detector test and whatnot. Finally, she misses shooting him when he's clearly trying to escape, taking her own car and mobile along with him. She lets him go unhurt and then immediately regrets. walking for hours before finding a tractor which helps her. This scene simply gave me trust issues. Considering the amount of trouble Professor had made for Raquel during the entire heist, Raquel's character was my biggest plot disappointment from the entire series. Coming in at number 7, it's difficult not to believe that the army was sleeping and simply inactive on the first 4 days when they just randomly decide to barge into the Royal Mint on the last day at the last minute after the tunnel was already made by the robbers and all was nearly lost. Also, against such a large army, any layman robber would not stand a chance in the real world. However, here each robber is shown having an upper hand over the large number of trained army fighters, firing bullets at them endlessly while evading the ones fired by the army. Clearly a miracle moment. It seems the director was running out of budget and wanted to do something with the army on the last day of the shoot. At number 8, Monica, Denver's girlfriend and Arturo's secretary, is clearly one hell of an interesting character shown in the series. Not only is she able to do all the heavy lifting stuff like digging tunnel while being pregnant, but in the final episode, she suddenly picks up a gun and starts shooting frantically on the army like a Rambo. In fact, doing it better than the trained army or the robbers. Only if shooting with the M16 rifle was that easy, then there wouldn't be any training academies at all in the world. With her superhuman skills, I believe she is the perfect cast for the next Wonder Woman series. At number 9, in the final episode, we are shown a ray of light when Angel, the only person apart from Raquel who knew the professor's den, gets up from coma. However, our joy is short-lived when within 5 minutes of the meeting, Raquel convinces him into her cause of betraying his own team by not sharing the professor's address at such a critical stage of the operation. All that trouble he took for a woman who had earlier just used him for his own selfish benefit and fired him from duty without any evidence, actually causing his depression and the accident leading him to coma. Also, despite knowing that Raquel was going to visit Angel, there is no one sent in Angel's room to keep a check when Raquel, the compromised officer, enters. So that is quite surprising. Finally, last but not the least, at number 10, the biggest surprise of them all. In the previous episodes of Season 2, it is shown that cops had declared Operation Cage within the city, which meant no one could go outside the city limits. Although Tokyo surprisingly manages to evade everyone and everything gravitational and ends up within the bank like a Fast and Furious star. The biggest disappointment came in the last episode, when it is shown that just before 5 minutes of cops entering the professor's place, the robbers disguised and managed to escape from the city. What was the entire purpose of the Operation Cage then, if it was so easy to rob an entire bank and escape outside the city by road? Have the makers never heard of the concept of Nakabandi or blockade, I wonder? So friends, those were the few illogical moments which clearly stood out for me during Season 1 and Season 2 of this otherwise wonderful series. Do let me know in the comments if you believe there were any more scenes worth adding to this list. Also, please like, share and subscribe my channel for more such videos. I'll be making another video on Season 3 and Season 4 illogical moments too. So please stay tuned and thanks for watching.